When it comes to celebrity gossip, sometimes all it takes is one anonymous post, a blind item, to set the internet on fire. Today, we're going to break down how these rumors, some incredibly serious, others not so much, can just explode and start affecting some of the biggest names out there.
You know, the fallout can be absolutely massive. We're talking about everything from legal drama to full-blown fan wars. So, let's get into a few of the wildest recent stories and see exactly how these things get started and take on a life of their own.
Okay, so our first story is a really heavy one. We need to talk about the serious allegations that have come out of the recently released Epstein files and how they've been connected to a titan of the music industry, Jay-Z. To really wrap your head around the scale of this, just look at that number. Over 3 million pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein have been made public. It's this absolute mountain of information that's fueling this huge wave of online chatter and speculation right now.
So this is the exact quote that's at the very center of all this. It's from an anonymous FBI report from 2019 that was part of the document dump. Now, it alleges that Jay-Z, whose birth name is Shawn Carter, was there during an alleged assault by Harvey Weinstein. It's really important to be clear here. The document places him as a witness, not as a participant, but you know how it is in the court of public opinion, that line can get blurry fast.
And the fallout? Well, it was apparently immediate and very public. We're talking major accounts like the NFL and even family members reportedly hitting that unfollow button on Jay-Z. And at the same time, Beyoncé was said to have lost something like 10 million followers. It is just a wild example of how quickly a brand can take a massive hit in this digital age.
Okay, so we're going to shift gears from direct allegations to a situation that's, well, a little more complicated. This is about being caught in the crossfire. Actor Zac Efron's name came up in a criminal trial, tying him to a crime even though he's not accused of doing anything wrong at all.
This really lays out the whole problem. A witness in a trafficking trial testified that the people on trial used Zac Efron's name to try and get her to come to a party. Now, here's the crucial part. That same witness made it crystal clear that Efron himself did nothing wrong and isn't part of the case. It's a textbook case of guilt by association, where a famous name gets dragged through the mud for something they had absolutely nothing to do with.
And this quote right here just hits the nail on the head. It's all about how Efron's celebrity was allegedly used as a tool, like bait, by other people to build trust and get what they wanted. It really makes you think about the strange vulnerabilities that come with being that famous, right?
All right, let's step away from the courtroom drama and dive into the world of pure, unadulterated gossip. This next story wasn't born from any legal documents or FBI files. Nope, this one started from a single piece of online gossip involving two of the biggest pop stars on the planet, Harry Styles and Billie Eilish. So, where did this all start? A single, unverified, blind item that just blew up on TikTok. That is literally it. It claimed there was some kind of confrontation, that Harry was super rude, and that it got so bad that other people had to step in. It's a perfect example of how a huge rumor can start from just one tiny anonymous spark.
And of course, almost immediately, the fan theories just started flying everywhere. The speculation was all over the place, from professional jealousy, like maybe she didn't like his new music, to a full-on romantic rivalry. It's just a classic example of how online communities can build these entire complex stories in real time, just trying to fill in the gaps of a rumor that might not even be true.
Okay, for our last deep dive, we're looking at one of those relationships that has everybody asking, is this real love or is it just a really smart career move? And this one involves actress Sydney Sweeney and the powerhouse music manager Scooter Braun.
So this is the blind item that kicked the whole thing off. The rumor alleges that Scooter Braun has multiple girlfriends and that his thing with Sydney Sweeney isn't exclusive, at least not on his end. This one little sentence basically set up this huge debate online about what's really going on between them. So, to try and figure this out, people online brought up this famous, or maybe infamous, internet rule, the age gap test. It's this totally unscientific formula that people use to decide if an age gap between two people is socially acceptable or, creepy. Let's see how it plays out here. So, as you can see, when you do the math, you take Scooter's age divided by 2, which gives you 22. Then you add 7, and you get 29. So according to this internet test, the acceptable minimum age for him would be 29. And since Sydney Sweeney is 28, well, the relationship doesn't pass the test.
But wait, there's a totally different theory out there that's also pretty compelling. What if this isn't about romance at all? What if it's a strategic business partnership? The idea is that Sydney is tapping into Scooter's incredible industry connections to get business advice and land some of those huge, lucrative brand deals.
So these stories are all super different, right? But they all shine a light on the really messy, complicated reality of gossip and how it works in the digital age. We've basically seen the entire spectrum of how these stories get made.
I mean, think about it. We've covered everything from incredibly serious claims coming directly out of legal documents to the reputational damage that can happen just by being associated with a scandal. We saw how a simple TikTok video can basically invent a feud out of thin air and how public relationships are constantly put under a microscope.
Every single one of these stories exists in that blurry gray area between what's a proven fact and what's just a fiction, and it leaves all of us with a really critical question, especially now. In this world of online gossip, how do we or can we even tell where speculation ends and reality begins?